What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Ferg, one of the three brothers from Three Brothers No Sense. We had another great episode today. Please check it out. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment below. Talk to you next week.
Other than that, man, because I'm sure we'll probably talk some more about Shador. On some more serious news, man, I just want people to pay attention. The Supreme Court, one of the cases they're hearing are government home raids, like the FBI kicking in your door. There's a family in Atlanta that is saying they should be able to sue the FBI who kicked in their door. There was the wrong house. They had a 7-year-old kid in there, traumatized him. And they're asking the court to allow them to sue the government. And the government is like, hey, y'all can't sue us for a my bad, for a oopsie. We kicked in the wrong door. We threw a flashbang grenade in here. We pointed guns at your kid. Oops, my bad. Yeah. I mean, come on, it's a mistake.
As the Trump administration pays Ashley Babbitt's family. Just throwing that out there, right?
So it looks like what the Supreme Court is going to do. They're not going to totally rule in the family's favor, who has bipartisan support, by the way. Senator Rand Paul thinks they have a case, as well as Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia. They both feel like they have a case. But it looks like the Supreme Court may kick it back down to the lower courts and ask them to reconsider allowing this particular case to sue the government. But they don't want to give this blanket permission for people to sue the government because they feel like law enforcement needs to have the flexibility to. I mean, they use lawful lawyer court lingo, but I'm gonna say they just want law enforcement to be able to say, "Oops, we fucked up," every once in a while,
right,
without being sued. So that's all I got, man.
Which I agree with. I will, we come down on law enforcement a lot on this show, but I will say I agree that law enforcement and these organizations need a little bit of leeway, right? There's a difference of, hey, we legitimately thought that was the right address, right? We have a warrant for that address and we went in the right address. So that's very different than, and the person doesn't live there, but that's where we thought they lived, versus I got a warrant for 2 houses down and I'm kicking in the door of the wrong house. Like, that is very different, I think, when you talk about trying to sue an organization or a company. So I agree they need a little bit of
flexibility. The damage is the damage. I mean, the damage is the damage. The victim doesn't heal any faster because it was mistake 1 versus mistake 2. A mistake is a mistake. You have to find a way to fix the mistake. And if you don't have, if there's no consequences for the mistake, there's no reason to fix it. They can kick in 5 doors on the same house. I mean, the same block. Like, oh, nope, never mind. Apartment 1, nope. 2, 3, 4. Hey, we knew it was one of them, or we thought it was one of them. We were at the wrong apartment. It was, Village Green and not the Green Villages, right? Like, it was, at the end of the day, if you make a mistake, and that's my whole thing, if you make a mistake, you pay the consequences. If I hit somebody with my car, am I going to jail? No. But there's an insurance claim. There's going to be an investigation. There's going to be things that happen. And the victim is going to be compensated in some form or fashion. I'm going to be reprimanded. I'm going to feel the pinch, right? Some form of fashion. Do better. There's no reason for them to do better. Like, I hate making excuses. I'm not saying I don't expect perfection, but they expect perfection from you.
I just think most of the time these raids are usually for drugs, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. And I just don't know if drugs are important enough to risk that. Like, I just don't know. Like, if you're trying to get a violent criminal, I just think these home raids need to be so few and far between. Like, when there's no other, like, that's your very last resort, man. Because it's just too much that can go wrong. This has happened time. This is not something that happens once every 3 years. This happens all the time. We don't always hear about it. It happens all the time. And that sister, what was Breonna Taylor? I believe it was. That's pretty much what happened with them. And of course, if you try to defend yourself, because you don't know that's the law enforcement. Somebody kicking in your door. If you're armed and you bust back, now you in more trouble.
Oh, you're dead.
Well, that too.
there's that.
Yeah, that's I guess I was
You know.
sugarcoating. That's my bad.
And so you want everybody benefits from you doing the right thing and not making mistakes.
And I think, Razi, if you have something like this, I think law enforcement would be more diligent and make sure they have everything.
Yeah.
Like they won't, because sometimes they rely on witness statements. Like, yeah, that's his house right there, whatever, like that. Like, do some stakeouts. Make sure that, like, go a week or two ahead of time. Make sure that is the house.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just go off word of mouth.
Market.
Yeah.
Put a marker on it, like something like it's night, it's dark. They look the same.
That's exactly what we used to have to do in country, right? Like I did a lot of med caps where in CA missions, right, where people used to laugh at us about passing out beanie babies and blankets and stuff. But literally, what we were doing is we were just being there, making everybody look at us while the special forces or a ranger team were out looking at houses. Like, oh, that's the one, we're marking that one, that's the one we're raiding. And 2 days later they
put
go,
something
yeah,
on there
they
to identify,
it,
like
yeah,
they
and they
put
know that's the house that we got to raid. Yeah, like we literally used to have to do that. That's part of CA. That's part of my job. To be able to do that, I get that. What I'm saying is, like Ferg said, it's maybe it's that where, oh, we got stock compensation. If we raid your house incorrectly, here's what you get, right? Versus you can go out and sue us for it. So I'm fine with like some compensation versus, it's like, oh, you're going to sue us and we're going to do pain and suffering and, oh, I hurt you. And so,
but it needs to be levels to it. It needs to be levels to it because the thing about it is, think about it, you have 2 young kids in the house who've had enough trauma in their life.
Or grandma, you break her hip. Pulling her out.
You have 2 young kids in your house that have been through enough trauma. Imagine somebody breaking your house, pointing a gun at Ali and Sophie.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard to get over right there.
They don't need any more. And then they supposed to trust the police and all this stuff. And their daddy was like, well, here's $25,000. There's pain and suffering. And I think it might be levels to it. I'm the same way when it comes to police brutality, accidental shootings, whatever the case may be. Hey, I'm not saying you're racist. I'm not saying, you're a bad person. I'm saying you killed an unarmed person. You made a mistake and there should be a consequence. So, that's in the military. There's rules of engagement. There's things that happen when you do the wrong thing. It's just that simple, and people have to stop covering up for it.
Let's have each case individually looked at when this happens, and what was the intel that you relied on. And I think that would be a huge determining factor on what type of intel you relied on, and what did you do to ensure that this is where the suspect lived. Mm-hmm. And if you can't show those things, then some punishment needs to come.
Oh, we didn't damn near turn this into a question.
Yeah, you're right. That's okay. That's all I got.